All right, so we started with reaction kinetics. I told you about the reaction mechanism and how there are multiple steps in the mechanism, and that gives you the overall reaction. Now, I told you the slowest step is called the rate determining step, and that rate determining step will tell you the rate equation. Rate equation will be where rate is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactants in the rate determining step or the slow step. Clear? Now, there's something called the order of reaction. What is the order of reaction? It is the power to which the concentration is raised to in the rate equation. Like, for example, this equation right here, where rate is directly proportional to a square b c raised to the power 0. So, by looking at this rate equation, you can determine the orders. How? You can say rate is second order with respect to concentration of a because a is raised to the power 2. You can say it is first order with respect to B because B is raised to the power 1. And you can say it is zero order with respect to C because C is raised to the power 0. Clear? Now, I told you that order can also be determined by other methods. That is, you can also determine it by looking at graphs. There are two types of graphs that we can use to determine the order. The first type is rate against concentration, and the second is concentration against time. These are the two types of graphs that we can use to determine the order with respect to a reactant. Now, let's see how we determine the order graphically. All right. Let's see the first one, which is for zero order. For zero order, we will see the two graphs. First graph is concentration against time, and the second graph is rate against concentration. What do you mean by zero order? Zero order means that no matter what you do to the concentration, the rate will be unaffected. That is what zero order means. That rate is unaffected by the change in concentration. That's what zero order means. And over here, I am taking my reactant to be X. So if you say rate is zero order with respect to X, that means no matter how much you change, the concentration of X will not affect the rate of the reaction. It will remain unchanged. So let's see. You have concentration time graph and you have rate concentration graph. Let me first draw the rate concentration graph for zero order. If you have zero order with respect to a reactant, the rate concentration graph looks like this. Now let me explain this first. Do you see this is a horizontal line? What do you mean by zero order? That if you change the reaction concentration, reactant concentration, the rate will be unchanged. Let's see how. Do you see the concentration of X right here was 0? The rate was this much. Then I increase the concentration of X, made it this much. The rate is still the same. You increase the concentration even more. The rate still is the same. You increase the concentration. The rate is still the same. Do you see? No matter how much you change the concentration of X, the rate remains unchanged. So that means no matter what you do to the concentration of X, rate is unaffected by it. Or can I say rate is zero order with respect to this reactant? Yeah. So if you have a rate concentration graph, and if it is a horizontal line like this, that means rate is zero order with respect to X, or zero order with respect to this reactant. Because you see, you are changing the concentration of X, but rate remains unchanged. Do you see that? So this is what the rate concentration graph for zero order looks like. Clear? Let's now see concentration time graph. A concentration time graph for zero order looks like this. It's a downward sloping line. All right. So this is what zero order graph looks like. Now, by looking at this graph, how will you know that this is zero order? It's a downward sloping gradient, and this is what the concentration time graph looks like. But how will we know? How can you prove it is zero order? To prove it is zero order, you need to figure out what we call half-lives. What do you need to figure out? Half-lives. What is a half-life? Half-life is basically the time taken for the concentration to decrease or to reduce to half of its original value. So when the concentration decreases to half of its initial or original amount, we call that time taken to be what? Half-life. So what is half-life? It is the time taken to reduce the concentration to half of its original value. And this is what you need to determine in order to figure out the order. So when you have a concentration time graph, it looks like this for zero order. How can you confirm that it is zero order? You will calculate the half-lives. What will you calculate? Half-lives. Now I have given the concentrations here. This is 4A, 2A, A, half A. So the initial concentration is what? 4A. What will be the half of 4A? 2A. Let's see the time taken from 4A to 2A. This is the time taken. Yes. Can I call this the first half-life? Can I call this the first half-life? Because you're going from 4A to 2A. So can I call this T1? The first half-life. Now your initial concentration is 2A. To decrease to half of its amount, what will be the half of 2A? A. So that will be 2A to A. So that will be this time. Do you see this time right here is T2, or we can call this the second half-life. Yeah. Now from A to half A, that will be the third half-life. So from A to half A, that is this half-life. We can call this what? T3. Yeah. So this right here becomes T3. Now I have calculated these half-lives, T1, T2, T3. Can I call them successive half-lives? Because this is one after the other, one after the other. So we call these what? Successive half-lives. And if the reactant concentration is zero order, the successive half-lives will decrease. Do you see? T1 is less, T1 is greater than T2, which is greater than T3. So if T1 is greater than T2, which is greater than T3, or can I say if successive half-lives decrease, then you will know it is zero order. So in zero order, successive half-lives tend to decrease. So if successive half-lives are decreasing, then you should know that rate is zero order with respect to that reactant. Clear? So if you have a concentration time graph, you will have to calculate the half-lives to figure out the order. And if successive half-lives are decreasing, that means it is zero order with respect to that reactant. And if you are given concentration versus rate graph, that is this one. This is easy to depict. Why? Because you see you are increasing concentration, but rate remains unchanged. So you know that is zero order. What does zero order mean? That even if you change concentration, rate does not change. That is zero order. So rate concentration graph, you can easily figure out that it is zero order. But for concentration time graph, you will have to calculate half-lives. And if half-lives decrease, that means it is zero order. Clear? Do you see for zero order, half-lives are decreasing? Understood? Let's now see. So what is half-life? We know half-life is the time taken for the concentration to reduce to half of its original value. Yeah? If successive half-lives decrease, what does that tell you? That it is zero order. So if successive half-lives decrease, that means the reactant is zero order. Clear? As you can see right here, T1 is greater than T2, which is greater than T3, or successive half-lives are decreasing, therefore it is zero order. Understood? Now let's see the graphs for first order. We can represent half-life, by the way, by T half. It is the time taken for the concentration to reduce to half of its original amount. Clear? And you can see in Zero order, T1 is greater than T2, which is greater than T3. Clear? Now let's see the graph for first order. Again, we will have two types of graphs. We will have rate against concentration, and we will have concentration against time. What do you mean by first order? I am again taking my reactant to be X. What do you mean by first order? If I say rate is first order with respect to X, that means if you increase X, rate will also increase. And it will increase how? Linearly. Do you see? Because it is affected by the power of 1. So if I make my rate, if I increase my concentration from 1 to 2, I've doubled it. So my rate will also double. If I triple the concentration, rate will also triple. If I increase the concentration by 4, rate will also increase by 4. So can I say order 1 means that there is a linear increase in rate as the concentration increases. So rate and concentration are related linearly. If you double the concentration, rate will double. If you halve the concentration, rate will halve. Clear? Let's see. Let's see the rate concentration graph. I told you they are related how? Linearly. So if you have first order, the rate concentration graph looks like this. And let me show you. For example, this was my initial concentration, 0. Now, if I make this 1, my rate will also increase by the same amount. If I make it 2, my rate will also increase by the same amount. If I make it 3, my rate will increase by the same amount. If I make it 4, my rate will increase by the same amount. If I increase the concentration by 5, my rate will also increase by 5. Do you see? It's a linear relationship. So if there is a linear increase, that means the rate is first order with respect to that reactant. They are increasing or related linearly. Clear? Now let's see the concentration time graph for first order. The concentration time graph for first order looks like this. Now again, for concentration time graph, you need to prove that it is first order. So we will have to calculate half-lives. For zero order, what was the trend in half-lives? Successive half-lives were decreasing. Now let's see for first order. How does the half-life change? So I've again given you the concentrations. This is 4A. That is the initial concentration. What will be the half of 4A? 2A. Let's see the time taken. Can I call this T1 or the first half-life? Then from 2A, we need to go to A. This right here is your second half-life. Can I call this T2? Then from A, you need to go to half A. Can I call this T3? Do you see right here? T1 is equal to T2, which is equal to T3. So if your successive half-lives are equal, that means it is first order. So if successive half-lives, T1 is equal to T2 is equal to T3, or if successive half-lives are equal, that means it is first order. Rate is first order with respect to that reactant. If successive half-lives were decreasing, it is zero order. If successive half-lives are equal, it is first order. Is that clear? Now let's move on to second order. What do you mean by second order? Second order, again, my reactant, I'm taking that to be X. This is what you mean by second order, X squared. So that means if I change the concentration of X, my rate will be affected by square of it. For example, if I make my concentration from 1 to 2, so my concentration has now become 2. My rate will increase by square of 2, that is 4. So your rate will be 4 times more than the change in concentration. That's what second order means. If I increase the concentration by 3, the rate will increase by 9 times. That's what second order means. So can we say that second order means that the rate will increase by the square of concentration, or the rate will increase by the square of change in concentration? For example, if we double the concentration, the rate will increase 4 times. So if we double the concentration, rate increases 4 times because it will increase by square of 2. Is that clear? Now again, let's see the two types of graphs. Let's see the rate concentration graph and the concentration time graph. Let me make the rate concentration graph first. The rate concentration graph will be an increase with an upward sloping gradient or a positive gradient. So this right here is the rate concentration graph. It's like this, an increase and then a positive gradient. So let's see, it shows a linear increase first with a positive gradient then. Now, why am I showing the rate concentration graph first? Because if you see for all 3 orders, the rate concentration graphs are different. For 0 order, the rate concentration graph looks like this. It's a horizontal line. For first order, the rate concentration graph looks like this. It's a linear line passing through the origin. And for second order, it is a straight line and then a positive gradient. Do you see all 3 are different? So you can easily distinguish them. But the concentration time graph for the first order and second order is very, very similar. So let's see the concentration time graph now. The concentration time graph for second order looks like this. Looks like this. It is very similar to first order. Now again, how will we determine whether it's first or second? We will calculate the half-lives. So let's see. What is your initial concentration? 4A. So what will be the half of 4A? 2A. And let's see the time taken. So from 4A to 2A, this is the time taken. Can I call this T1 or the first half-life? Then from 2A to half of this amount, which is A. This is your second half-life. Can I call this T2? Yes. And then from A, we need to go to half A. So let's see that. This right here is half A. So can I call this T3? What is happening here? Do you see successive half-lives are increasing? T1 is less than T2, which is less than T3. So if successive half-lives increase, that means it is second order. So if successive half-lives increase, that means it is rate is second order with respect to that reactant. If successive half-lives were decreasing, that meant it is 0 order. If successive half-lives were the same, it meant it is first order. And if successive half-lives increase, that means it is second order. Do you understand that? But if they give you the rate concentration graph, you don't need to really do the half-lives or calculate the half-lives because the rate concentration graphs anyway look different. Do you see this is different for 0 order and this is for first order? And then this right here is for second order. Do you see rate concentration graphs are different? So for that, you can just look at them and you can figure out they are first, second, or 0. But for concentration time graphs, because they look similar, you have to calculate the half-lives and find out whether it is 0, first, or second. If half-lives decrease, it is 0 order. If successive half-lives stay the same, it is first order. And if successive half-lives increase, it is second order. Is that clear? Let's see an example. Let's see how you can figure out the half-lives and figure out the order. Let's see this. For example, if they ask you, find the order with respect to the concentration of this. They've given you the graph. They're asking you to find the order with respect to this reactant. What will we do? It is a concentration time graph. What will we do? We will find the half-lives. What will we do? Let's see. So you have the initial concentration, which is 0.01. What will be the half of this value? So 0.05, that is your half. So that is this time. Yes. What is the time? 120 roughly? Yes. Roughly 120. So 120 minutes. That's the first half-life. Let's find the second half-life. So that will be half of 0.05, which will be how much? 0.025. And you see, this comes out to be how much? 230. So 120 minus 230 is how much? 110. Do you see roughly it's the same? It's the same 120. It's because this I took this as 120. This is not really 120. It's a little less than 120. Yes? Do you see it's not exactly falling on 120? This is roughly 118. Yes? So this is 118 and this is 118 minus 230. That comes out to be how much? 118 minus 230. 112. Yes. So you see the half-lives are roughly similar. Do you see 118, 112, roughly the same. So T1 is equal to T2. Therefore it will be first order. Clear? Let's see another example. Let's see another example. Let's find the order. So they are saying in this question, from the curve of run B, determine the order. So from the curve of run B, you got to determine the order with respect to ester. So this is your run B. So you got to find the order with respect to this. Let's see how we do that. What is your initial concentration? 0.01. Let's see. Half of this would be this much. And this comes out to be 12 minutes. So this is 12 minutes. What will be the half of this value? 0.0025. So that would be this much. And this comes out to be how many minutes? 20. So 12 minus 26. It's not 26 actually, it's 24. So 24 minus 12, 12. So this is also 12 minutes. Then half of this value would be how much? 0.0025 would be 1.25. This comes out to be 36 and this was 22. So this also difference comes out to be how much? 24. 24 and 36, the difference comes out to be 12. Do you see T1 is equal to T2 is equal to T3? So that would make this what? First order. And then they will say, explain how you arrive to your answer. So you will say T1 is equal to T2, which is equal to T3. That is how much? 12 minutes. So since successive half-lives are equal, that means the order is first order. Is that clear? Let's see another example. For example, this, if they ask you to determine the order with respect to iodide ion, what is the initial concentration? 0.01. What will be the half of this value? 0.05. What is the time taken? 90 seconds. Then what will be the half of 0.005? 0.0025. And this comes out to be 180. So 90 minus 180 is 90 seconds. Let's find the third one. The third would be 125. So that would be somewhere here. That comes out at 270. 180 minus 270 is 90 seconds. Do you see T1 is equal to T2 is equal to T3? Again, this would mean that it is first order. And that's exactly what they've told you. Use the half-life data, from the graph to show that it is first order. So you will say T1 is equal to T2, which is equal to T3, that is 90 seconds. And that's how we know it is first order. Is this clear? Now, let's determine the order now. So we determine the order by looking at the rate equation. We determine the order by looking at the graphs, calculating the half-lives. Now you also can be asked to determine the order when you are given the initial rate data. So you can be given this data and you can be asked to calculate the order with respect to each reactant. Let's see. They have given you 4 experiments. They have given you the concentration of nitrogen monoxide, bromine, and they've given you the initial rate. Let's see how we determine the order with respect to each reactant. Now, how do you solve these questions? This is another type of question that you can be asked. One was in the form of graph. Yes. The other was by giving you the rate equation like this. By giving you rate is A square B is C0. You can figure out the order by this also. The third method is by giving you the rate data. Now let's see how we determine the order with respect to this data that is given to us. Now, you've been given 4 experiments. They are saying determine the order with respect to NO and with respect to bromine. Now let's see how we do that. So let's find the order with respect to NO. Now how will we do this? You've been given 4 experiments. Yes. You see in this and this concentration is the same. This and this concentration is changing. This and this concentration is changing. Now when you want to find the order with respect to NO, you will pick 2 experiments in which the concentration of NO is changing, but bromine remains the same. So you will pick 2 experiments. Which 2 experiments can we choose? You can use the second and the third, because you see right here, NO is changing in concentration, but bromine remains the same. So you will pick 2 equations or 2 experiments where NO is changing and bromine remains the same. So I picked 2 and 3. Yeah. Now, how is the concentration of NO changing? It is going from 0.03 to 0.09. So you will do 0.09 divided by 0.03, and the change is by how much? 3. So the concentration is changing by 3. Let's see how the rate changes. So for the same 2 experiments, you will see the change in rate. Now the change in rate would be how much? It goes from 6.8 10 to the power minus 3 to 6.1 10 to the power minus 2. So how does the rate change? You divide this by this, and the rate changes by how much? 8.9. Do you see? You can round that off to 9. So the rate is changing by 9. When you are changing the concentration by 3, rate is changing by 9. That means it is second order. Do you see rate is increasing by square of 3? Yes. So can we say that rate is second order with respect to NO? Is that clear? Now for bromine, again, we need to pick 2 equations or 2 experiments where bromine is changing, but NO is constant. So pick 2 experiments where bromine is changing, NO is constant. Can I pick 1 and 2? Yes. So for bromine, I am picking experiment 1 and 2. Now, how is the concentration changing? It is going from 0.02 to 0.04. Concentration is changing by 2. Let's see how the rate changes. So rate changes. It goes from 3.4 to 6.8 10 to the power minus 3. And when you find the change in rate, that is also by 2. Do you see the rate is also changing by 2? So if the concentration is changing by 2 and the rate is also changing by 2, that means it is first order. So that means it is first order with respect to bromine. Now you found the orders with respect to both the reactants. Can we find the rate equation, or can we make the rate equation? So how will we make the rate equation? So the rate equation would be rate is directly proportional to NO square. Why? Because it is second order. Yeah. And bromine raised to the power 1. You don't really need to show the power 1. You can just show bromine. Is that clear? Do you see it is second order with respect to NO and first order with respect to bromine? Clear? Now they're saying, write the rate equation, then use experiment 3 to calculate the units of K and value of K. So let's see. In experiment 3, the rate is given, concentration is given, you have the rate equation. Can you find K? Yeah. So you know rate is equals to K NO square Br2. What is the rate in experiment 3? 6.1, 10 to the power minus 2. K we don't know. What is NO in experiment 3? 0.09. So 0.09 square. What is bromine in experiment 3? 0.04. So you find the value of K, which comes out to be 188.3. Now you need to find the units also. How will we find the units of K? You know rate is in mole per dm cube per second divided by NO square. So that would be mole per dm cube square and mole per dm cube for this. So that will be another mole per dm cube. So the units come out to be how much? In the numerator, you just have 1 mole per dm cube. In the denominator, you have 3. So you will cancel this out with this and you'll be left with 2 in the denominator. So that will become mole minus 2 dm6 per second. That becomes your unit for K. Those are your units for K. Is that clear? Now they are saying find the value of X. You need to find the rate. You have the rate constant, you have the concentrations, and you have the rate equation. Can you find X? How? So you will find X, you will do rate is equals to K NO square Br2. Rate is X. What is the value of K? 188.3. What is NO here? 0.12 square. What is bromine? 0.06. So you do 0.06 here. And your rate comes out to be how much? Rate comes out to be how much? The value of rate is? Can someone calculate it? X comes out to be how much? 0.16 mole per dm cube per second, because we know the units for rate are mole per dm cube per second. Is this clear? Do you guys understand this? Can you guys try this question? Can you guys try this? Determine the order with respect to these reactants very quickly. Let's see now. Let's see NO. So we'll pick 2 experiments where only the concentration of NO is changing, which is experiment 2 and 3. So experiments 2 and 3, that's where NO is changing, but oxygen remains constant. And how much does the concentration change by? 0.01 divided by 0.005. So it is changing by 2. And let's see how the rate changes. So the rate changes, it goes from 0.13 to 0.03 to 0.12. Rate is changing by 4. So you see it is increasing by square of this. So it would be what? Second order with respect to NO. Let's find the order with respect to oxygen. You'll take these 2 experiments. How is the concentration changing? It is going from 0.005 to 0.0075. This changes by 1.5. So it is changing by 1.5. Let's see how the rate changes. It goes from 0.02 to 0.03. That also changes by 1.5. So this would be first order. And if you are to write the rate equation, what would that be? Rate is equals to K NO raised to the power 2 and oxygen raised to the power 1. Is this clear? Do you guys understand this? Do you all get it? Any question?